today's video, I'm sharing the differences between an influencer and a brand ambassador, because while it can be easy to think that they're one and the same, the truth is they both are very valuable to brands, but in very different ways. So if you'd like to learn how to work with brands as an influencer or as a brand ambassador, keep watching. So if you're thinking a brand ambassador is essentially an influencer, right? The answer is wrong. Not entirely anyways. So while yes, they do both work with brands to promote products in exchange for money, or in some cases products, there are some pretty distinct differences between them. And as I'm sure you're aware, social media and marketing go hand in hand. And because of this, many brands choose to only partner with brand ambassadors and really steer clear of influencers, whereas other brands choose to only partner with influencers and never really experiment with brand ambassadors. And you know, there's a really good reason for that, which we'll get into shortly. So since we all have a pretty clear understanding of what an influencer is, let's start this video by answering the question, what is a brand ambassador? Because that term seems to cause a lot of confusion. Essentially, a brand ambassador is someone who represents a brand in a positive light, and by doing so, increases brand awareness and ideally revenue for brands. By the way, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Jay and I'm the creator of 11th Street Studio Influencer Agency. If you'd like to learn how you can join our private influencer community to partner with brands that are looking for influencers, make sure to click the link below this video to get on our VIP email list. And if you'd like to learn all about our e-courses for influencers, including how to pitch brands, price your rates, and how to negotiate brand deals, make sure to click the link below this video to check out our members area where you'll find all of the e-courses. Okay, back to the video. The role of a brand ambassador has really evolved in recent years. In the past, the term was pretty clear-cut. It really referred to someone who would publicly spread the word about a brand or a brand's product. And while this is still true, a brand ambassador now has some added responsibilities. So for example, speaking to the media, creating engaging content online and for social media platforms, and attending in-person brand events. Plus, brand ambassadors now need to deeply understand all of the different social media platforms and how they can best promote the brands that they represent long term. An influencer, on the other hand, represents a brand or company for a short period of time, often for only one or two posts. Now, this is different from the brand ambassador since they act as a representative of the brand long term. Plus, they typically have higher ambitions for the brand, often strategizing how the brand is presented and represented long term across social media platforms. Plus, they often avoid collaborations with the brand's competitors and are much more likely to sign long-term contracts with the brands they represent for sometimes up to a year or more. So let's pivot and chat about influencers now. An influencer is someone who built their brand and audience by creating really high quality, engaging content that helps people make decisions on what products to buy, where to travel, or what to wear, for example. The core content they create revolves around the brands they love and the brands they recommend. They're very intuitive and persuasive, and they love showcasing a specific lifestyle, and their community deeply values and trusts their opinions. Also, it's important to remember that yes, influencers create content for their communities, but they also have a distinct personal brand and are valued for their unique ability to affect their audience's purchasing decisions. So if you're thinking that a brand ambassador is essentially the same as an influencer, you're not wrong. The similarities are certainly there, but both have the power to influence people's decisions or perspectives. The main difference between the two lies in the partnership details. An influencer typically partners with a brand on 1 or 2 posts. So think one-off deals. A brand ambassador, however, is very invested in the brand's end goal, partnering with them long-term, again, often for a year or longer, and are responsible for providing very specific deliverables each month. Not to mention, they also sign contracts agreeing not to partner with the brand's competitors for the duration of the partnership. And while some of you may think, well, isn't that the same thing as an exclusivity clause in a contract? The answer is essentially yes and no. So while yes, a brand ambassador agrees to exclusivity, this is for a significantly longer time frame than the influencer who signs a contract agreeing to a category or competitor exclusivity for, say, 30 days or 3 months, thereby limiting the brands they partner with short term. Okay, so the truth is, regardless if you're an influencer or not, you can technically be a brand ambassador. And like I mentioned earlier, many influencers are brand ambassadors. Also, it's important to know that brand ambassador partnerships typically fall into one of 2 categories, paid or unpaid. So let's chat about what you should be on the lookout for if a brand approaches you to be a brand ambassador, because chances are, if you're an influencer or blogger or content creator, you've been approached by brands to be an ambassador more than a few times. But like with any partnership, there are good opportunities and not so good opportunities. So let's discuss what you should be on the lookout for. First and foremost, when a brand approaches you to be a brand ambassador, you want to determine whether or not their program is well structured. Okay, so based on my experience, this is what I look for. First, and most importantly, you want to confirm that it's a paid brand ambassadorship. Listen, if you're working to create content to market a brand, you should fully expect to get paid monthly for that. And the revenue shouldn't be based on affiliate programs or otherwise tied to sales. Now, just to be clear, it's okay if there's a bonus for any sales that you generate, but your compensation should never be based solely on sales. A good brand will have set aside a 1-year budget large enough for everything they want to do before approaching potential ambassadors. They expect to significantly increase brand awareness and should be prepared to accept that as a primary benefit. They'll understand that it can be hard to tie revenue gains directly to ambassadors, but that they can play a major role in long-term company growth as part of an integrated marketing program. So since so much marketing occurs on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, it's important to keep in mind that it often takes consumers up to 8 touch points to move from being introduced to a brand to actually making a purchase. So if you're creating brand awareness without direct purchase links, or there's a slower sales cycle and someone sees your post now but doesn't make a purchase for months, you should still fully expect to be paid for increasing brand awareness, okay? Because remember, brands pay Instagram and Facebook and other social media platforms every day to show their ads to potential customers, regardless if those ads result in sales or not. And they can pay you as well. Okay, so what should you expect to be paid? Well, I've seen brand ambassador roles range anywhere between $500 and $5,000 a month, depending on deliverables and the ambassador's unique reach. Okay, so the second thing you want to determine is that there are firm deliverables. A company that is interested in partnering with you as a brand ambassador should require a specific set of deliverables each month. So, for example, a certain number of social media posts or blog posts or YouTube videos each month. So if you're a travel ambassador, for example, and partner with a hotel brand, they likely will fly you to their various resorts and have you attend and promote hotel events and openings and promote the resorts at the same time. Or if you're a fashion brand ambassador, they will send you a certain amount of new clothes each month, and in turn, you'll be required to create, for example, 2 posts for your feed of you wearing the new clothes, as well as pay you for the content. The third thing you want to be on the lookout for is that there are a limited number of brand ambassadors. So ideally, you want to join an ambassador partnership that is exclusive. So if a brand approaches you and it's clear that they're sending out hundreds of DMs offering ambassador roles whereby you, the ambassador, gets a free dress and in exchange agree to a social media post, well, that's not really an ambassador partnership. There's no long-term obligation, and the hundreds of people who accept the offer aren't going to feel a particular bond to the brand. A good brand ambassador program should have approximately 10 to 15 people max, all of whom love the brand and ideally are in different niches so that the monthly promotion is as wide as possible. This type of exclusivity will be really hard to miss. The brands will typically make it really fun to be part of the program, and in most cases will bring everyone together in person at least once a year so everyone can get to know one another and feel like they're a part of a community. A good brand will want to curate a group that will really work well together. They want a cohesive group where ambassadors will mutually support each other, even outside of the deliverables. So the next thing you want to be on the lookout for is that it's an exclusive relationship. If you're getting paid monthly by a company to be a brand ambassador, they should expect you to be exclusive and not promote their direct competitors. Okay, so in the example I gave earlier about the clothing company, there wouldn't be any expectation of exclusivity, not for a free dress. What you want is to be closely associated with a brand where you're an ambassador, and for that to come across in your social bios and in pretty much everything you do and post online. Okay, so for example, say you're an ambassador for a yoga brand. You'd make sure that you're wearing only that brand, and other yoga brands would never even be seen really anywhere on your feed. If you're not passionate about the brand, then you really shouldn't be an ambassador for them. In a case where absolute exclusivity doesn't make sense, such as with, like a small private airline that can't transport you domestically, at the very least, you wouldn't want to share posts while flying other airlines, and certainly don't agree to promotional agreements with other airlines. Now, if you feel like it's risky to accept exclusivity because you think a better partnership could come along, then by all means, you want to consider pricing that exclusivity into your contract so you don't experience any income loss. The next thing you want to confirm is that the brand ambassadorship is long-term. In my experience, brand ambassador contracts typically are initially arranged for about 6 months, with terms for extending 6 months at a time. You may also be approached with a 1-year initial term, which is even better. If you like a company and they like you, you naturally want that relationship to last as long as possible, right? Because let's be honest, a long-term, mutually beneficial partnership is always going to be better for you and your audience and the brand than any one-off partnership, right? So remember, your followers will notice when you're consistent long-term in who you recommend, and they'll also notice when you're inconsistent. Okay, that covers what you should be on the lookout for. So now let's dive into the other question I hear a lot from a lot of the influencers in the community, and that is, how do I become a brand ambassador? Okay, first, remember that most brand ambassadorships come about from in-person networking. So like I teach in the e-courses, networking is vital to your success. So I suggest starting by attending events and just getting to know people in your niche. Also, if a brand really likes you and reaches out, be willing to be bold and propose an ambassadorship if it's a company that you and your audience would really love and you can see yourself partnering with them long term. In that scenario, feel free to send a pitch to a company that you like, but just be aware that a lot of things need to come together for your pitch to be successful. So the company needs to have a budget. An ambassador program needs to be something that they've thought about or that they can integrate into their current marketing plan. And you need to be a perfect fit. So in your pitch email, make sure that you emphasize your history with the brand and how they can benefit from partnering with you. Okay, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments if you've worked with brands as an influencer or a brand ambassador and what your experience was like. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And of course, if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any future videos. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.